Yes, sir. So I wanted to wait a couple of days to let this Booger McFarland news and all that hysteria and backlash for his comments, which is basically constructive criticism about Dwayne Haskins and how he's a bad look for the rest of the so-called black NFL players of the league and the ones behind him. After basically witnessing Alex Smith come back from a calf injury, he's playing on 1.5 legs. He leads Washington into the playoffs with a 20-14 victory over the Eagles. Now, if you watch that game and you can't tell me that Dwayne Haskins couldn't do what Alex Smith was doing, we're talking about 5-yard outs to the running back, 10-yard, 7 to 10-yard outs to the receivers, 10-yard hooks over the middle to the tight end. He threw 2 touchdowns yesterday. You mean to tell me that Dwayne Haskins couldn't do that? When somebody says something about the so-called black individual, whatever it is, whether it's in the workplace, school, real life, sports, nobody can take the criticism. When it's coming from a so-called black man, he's labeled an Uncle Tom, he's labeled a coon. You know why? Because the majority of these individuals grow up with no fathers. They don't know what it is to take advice from a male figure because all they know is they female emotions and that spirit that's inside of them that they can't take constructive criticism. You got goofballs out here that's like, oh, this dude Booger, he's a watchdog for white supremacy. What about Peyton Manning and TB12? What about their brands? I mean, yo, that couldn't be any further from the fact because Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, they built their brand after winning. Who the fuck is building their brand after a rookie year? Unless you're Odell Beckham, unless you're Randy Moss, unless you're a great fucking talent, you're not building shit after 1 year. And you know how you're going to build your brand? By being on the fucking field. So it's just sad hearing all these sad excuses, all the same jargon from the goofballs, the Twitter mob. This generation that's coming up, they don't want to be able to be told anything. It doesn't matter if it's the truth, doesn't matter if it's lies, as long as it sounds good. How is that ever going to help you be a better person, especially if you're trying to be a man? How's that ever going to help you? So right here, you got Randy Moss, who is the greatest receiver I ever watched. I'm not as old as the other individuals that watched Jerry Rice and everything, but Randy Moss was going through his trials and tribulations when he was in college. He was supposed to go to Florida State. He ended up going to Marshall. He ended up shitting on his college, West Virginia, matter of fact, his hometown college, for not picking him. That's how you do it, yo. This man was almost not going to get into the league because he was getting arrested. He wasn't understanding the opportunity that he had ahead of him. You feel me? Because these owners, your job employers, they don't want disobedient niggas, for lack of a better term. They don't want nobody that's going to come and disrupt anything, dude. They worried about their bottom line. It's all about business at the end of the day. And if you worried about your brand, understand that that's business. You're not going to build your brand on the sideline unless it's called the Sideline Gang or some nonsense like that. But let's check out what they're talking about because so-called black people got to do better.
Looking at a young guy like Haskins, you see how teams respond to young quarterbacks. Everything that the Washington football team put on film this year, they didn't respond well to their second-year quarterback. So let me get back to a guy not being ready. When you coming out of college, and it's crazy that I've been watching football this long, when you see guys, Adam, that decide to leave college early, the number one thing you expect them to have, you expect them to have the knowledge and expect them to have the maturity. And it's not, you know, that you're coming into this game as a grown man. You still have a little kid in you. Yes. But when I look at Dwayne Haskins, I did see a lot of youth in him and I did see that he was not ready to be in the National Football League.
He admitted in his statement after Washington released him that he needed to grow up and learn from this. And when
You had to grow up and learn from when you got benched, my dude. What do you mean you have to grow up when you get released from a team? You be lucky if you get signed again. The XFL is a wrap. So what are you going to do with yourself, man? You got plenty of time to go to the strip club now. A lot of these players and fucking so-called black people are fucking simps, dude. Y'all cannot be so fucking simple or in any type of position to where you got demoted. And then now You got your opportunity to gain your starting position again. You're going to do whatever is in your power to keep that position. But no, not Dwayne Haskins. He's going to still play like shit, and then he's going to go to the strip club with no mask after. Meanwhile, there's a dude who didn't play football for more than a year. He's leading the team to the playoffs.
Back on his time in Washington, what do we remember? Took a selfie with the fans before the game was over. 2 COVID violations this year with a head coach who's battling cancer, irresponsible. And again, that's what he basically accomplished in Washington, now on the street.
You know, unfortunately, I've seen this too many times. Played in the NFL almost a decade. You played a long time. We've been around it for a long time. And oftentimes young players, especially, and I'm going to go here, especially young African-American players.
All right, let me stop you right there, Booger, because Booger is basically that old uncle that you have, that tough-notch uncle that people need because this generations are growing softer and softer. As soon as he says something about so-called black NFL players or players in general, understand that the perception is reality. And Dwayne Haskins, his terrible outlook as a leader, a quarterback, and a player is going to look bad on Justin Fields, who they wanted to demote in the rankings because of this clown, and any other player that's trying to get into the league. He is putting a rain cloud over that, man. We have to understand that. And then when Booger wants to say something, we don't want to hear, what about the white quarterbacks? What about Ryan Leaf and all these other guys? What about that? We're not trying to hear that shit. We're not talking about them, dude. We don't give a fuck about what's going on with so-called white players when the problem is so-called black players. That's all we hear, getting dragged through the mud in the media and all that shit. So you would think that you would want to change your conduct, dude. But all y'all want to do is bitch and moan and ask for these people to give you easy access and ask for these people to never hold you accountable to anything, dude. That's sucker shit.
Because they make up 70% of this league. They come into this league and they ask themselves the wrong thing. They come into the league saying not, how can I be a better player? They don't say, how can I be a better teammate? They don't say, how can I be a better person? How can I get my organization over the hump? Here's what they come in saying. They come in saying, how can I build my brand better? How can I build my social media following better? How can I work out on Instagram and show everybody that I'm ready to go, but when I get to the game, I don't perform?
I.e. Cam Newton, i.e. damn near 85% of the athletes in professional sports. It's just like everybody's worried about the wrong things. Obviously, you're going to worry about yourself and your well-being, but obviously you're being taken care of once you do what's part of the contract, bro. A lot of these people, they work for other people, but they wouldn't do shit to go against their contract or go against their employees or employers' wishes because they'll be fucking broke trying to claim for unemployment. So they do a lot of talking from the sideline. They say you making all this money and all that nonsense. More money just makes you more of a person that you already are. So Dwayne Haskins is just a dumbass, period.
Dwayne Haskins, unfortunately, is not the first case that I've seen like this.
Yes.
And it won't be the last. And it bothers me because a lot of it is the young African-American player. They come in and they don't take this as a business. It is still a game to them.
They look at it as football.
This ain't football,
right,
man. This is a billion-dollar business.
Yes.
It's billions of dollars. They pay us a lot of money to talk about the game. So imagine what they pay these guys to play the game.
Yes. Yeah.
They play.
And imagine what the owners make off of the players, off of the ticket sales, and off of everything. It's all about money. But so-called black people, the so-called black community of this USA do not understand a fucking thing about finances, money, or business. That's why a majority of them are workers with a serving class fucking mentality, dude. They don't understand business. Yeah, it's a fucking kid's game and whatnot, but you're getting paid millions for it, dude.
Child's game and get paid a king's ransom. And it bothers me because I saw a quarterback do it. I saw Jamarcus Russell do it. The #1 pick in the draft, they gave him $40 million and he threw it down the damn drain because he didn't take it seriously. And it bothers me because there ain't a lot of jobs like this around. I'm going to tell you, I've been retired a while. It's not a lot of jobs like that around where they will pay you millions of dollars for virtually 6 months of performance. So my message to Dwayne Haskins, not just him, but the rest of the young players in the NFL, man, this is a game, but take it as a business. There are billions with a B of dollars at stake. And until you start approaching this game that way until you start coming to work saying, you know what can I do to get better today? What can I do to make sure my teammates are better today? How can I put my organization first instead of my damn Instagram? Take it as a serious business, but too many times it's a game. We want to TikTok. We want to do all these different things. Man, do you understand how much money is at stake?
The brand is about being professional before you become a brand. The brand is...
They don't get that, Shefty. They don't understand that you build your brand from being on the fucking field. How are you going to build your brand by getting released by the football team? And then all these goofballs are going to defend the actions and blame and try to compare all this shit that does not matter. It's not relevant. All that liberal nonsense to where they bring shit in from left field to support their argument. It's just like, yo, dude, we're talking about this right here. If we want to talk about quote unquote white players, all right, there's a time for that. We're not talking about that shit right now, bro. We're talking about this clown right here who's acting like a clown, so you got to call him a clown. You worried about going to the strip club. You had your second COVID violation, bro. Come on, man.
Winning. You win, you're professional. Those other things come along.
They don't see it that way, though, Shefty. These young players don't see it that way. And Randy, it bothers me. And it's not just young black players. But this league is made up of majority black players. And so you see a lot of young players who come into wealth, who come into fame. They want everything that the NFL can give them. But they don't want to give the NFL nothing. Man, this game is a hard game. And so Dwayne Haskins, it's a sad example. Hopefully he learns from it.
I hope he does, yeah.
I don't have confidence that he will, but hopefully he does, because I've seen this.
A lot of people try to wait till it's too late, man. You got to understand that your window of opportunity in this elite league is so very fucking small because there's so many individuals that's after you, younger than you, smarter than you, faster than you, that are on the up and up, and they want to take your spot, bro. It's just like the regular rat race of the world. You're easily replaceable. It doesn't matter about your talent. It doesn't matter about your mind, bro. You're easily fucking replaceable. If you're not bringing anything to the fucking table that could change the dynamic of the situation of that environment, you're replaceable. If you're disruptive, you're replaceable because they could go ahead and get an obedient player that could follow the rules and try to make himself better and bring something to the team. Dwayne Haskins is nothing but a cancer. He's nothing but a leech right now. And if anybody supports him talking about what about these other players and all this other nonsense, you are part of the problem, period. That's that woman energy in most of y'all, man. Y'all got to get that shit out of y'all, period. Y'all support nonsense. Y'all support nigga nonsense and all that goofball shit, man.
Before, I came in the league in 99. You came in with 98. We've seen this so many times. When are these young guys going to learn that this is a business? And Susie, I truly hope he does at some point.
Part of the reason I believe that they let go of him is because they were tired of other people making excuses for his behavior, whether it was right or wrong.
Exactly.
Bro, I'm tired of everybody always making excuses for everybody, dude. That shit is like, yo, are we ever going to hold ourselves accountable? Do you ever want to hear constructive criticism? That's how you know a lot of these people never been involved in team sports. Everybody's an individualist. Everybody's a narcissist. Everybody's worried about me, me, me. You worship yourself as a god. You're not a team player. We always used to say there's no I in team. It doesn't matter if you're the quarterback. It doesn't matter how good you are, bro. It doesn't matter in the NFL. They will replace you like that, man.
So they want him, they need him to be more accountable in their eyes. Now, he would tell you that he didn't feel supported. Okay, that's his side. But I think their side would be that he was not accountable. And this is a player who was playing where he went to high school.
All right, man, it's a wrap for that because we pretty much don't give a damn about where he went to high school. It's just another excuse to just throw into the mix, man. Listen, if you want to jump into the big leagues, you got to be ready for everything around you. That means all the distractions, all the temptations, everything that's going to throw you off of your game. You got to stay on your A game at all times. How about y'all look at the quarterbacks that resemble that brother? How about y'all look at Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson? We could go down the list. How about you learn from Antonio Brown, who was damn near out of the league? And while everybody wants to make excuses for this brother, he could have been playing in the wild card weekend. But instead, Alex Smith is playing in wild card weekend with 1.5 leg. So what's your excuse for that? People have to learn from the mistakes that's happened before you Learn from around you. But these people want to perpetuate the same cycles because they're corrupted about these little reality shows, the music, and everything that's swirling around on their smartphone that makes them dumb. If you knew better, you do better. We need better people around you that's going to tell you about yourself when you're right or when you're wrong, man. These people get coddled from Pop Warner to high school to college. They get the easy access, the leeway, the extra tutors, just so they could pass a test, make the grades for the next game. It's all about money, man. So-called black men, y'all got to understand that you have to take constructive criticism if it's all about empowerment, bruh. You have to empower yourself, and you know what that is? That means being truthful with one another. Show more love to one another, man. But Dwayne Haskins, he absolutely is a bad look for the rest of the bunch. You got to understand, that's how the whole collective views you anyway. One bad apple ruins the bunch. How do they put that? You feel me? But that's enough of that, man. I don't want to ramble long, man. If you made it to the end, thanks for viewing the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Holla.